Hey guys, what's up? It's Eric from Tower Reviews, and today we're going to be doing a comprehensive review and comparison between Apple's iPad mini and Google's Nexus 7 Generation 2.
So here we are looking at the faces of the two devices. We have the Nexus 7 2013 on the left and the iPad mini first generation on the right. What you have to realize here is that this is Apple's first generation while it's Google's second generation, so it's not exactly the fairest of comparisons. We'll have to update this once the new iPad mini comes out, but for now I still think they are pretty big competitors, so we're going to go ahead and look at the design of the two. If we look at the Nexus 7, you can immediately see that it's thinner from the front, which has its advantages and disadvantages. For one, it's a lot easier to hold in the hand. As you can see, it's just very comfortable. You can easily fit your fingers around it. With the iPad, it's a little bit fatter, still pretty easy to hold. It's not that bad, and what it does give you is a lot more screen real estate. The exact dimensions are on the Nexus 1920 by 1200, so that's 323 pixels per inch. Very high resolution. You cannot distinguish pixels, and it really just looks nice. Color saturation is good, and things just look true to life. On the iPad, we have 1024 by 768 pixels, which is 163 pixels per inch. So it's not Apple's Retina display. You can distinguish pixels, but from the average viewing distance that you use a tablet at, it's not that bad. You can't really distinguish pixels that much. Colors are also very accurate and true to life. If we look around the devices, we can see on the top of the Nexus we have the 3.5mm headphone jack. On the left side there's nothing. On the right side we have the power button, the volume rocker, 5-megapixel camera on the back, and the speakers are also on the back, up at the top and down at the bottom. Micro USB down at the bottom, and that's about it. We have this sort of matte plastic design on the back, which is grippable but yet smooth and feels very nice with the Nexus logo. Very elegant looking. If we go ahead over to the iPad mini, we can see that we have the 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera on the front, which I think I actually forgot to mention on the Nexus, but it's on there as well. Slightly off-centered. We have the mute switch or orientation lock switch, I believe. You can change that in the settings. We have the volume rocker, 5-megapixel rear-facing, 3.5mm headset jack, and Apple's 8-pin lightning connector, along with the stereo speakers on the bottom. Also a very elegant device. It's a metal backing. The design really, I think, still goes to the iPad just because it's more of a metal and more refined design, but that's not to say that the Nexus is bad by any means. It's also $100 cheaper, you have to realize, and they're both very elegant, feel very solid, and honestly I might say that the Nexus 7 is a little bit more durable just because of that plastic design. It might take some impact better.
So next we're going to delve into the processor speed and the OS and battery life and things of that nature. So what I'm going to say first is that the Nexus has a Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 Pro running at 1.5 gigahertz. That's a quad-core processor with 2 gigabytes of RAM, while the iPad is lagging behind a little bit with its A5 processor, which is a dual-core, 1 gigahertz with 1 gig of RAM. Obviously, we all know that it comes down to the OS and how it runs. So when we are using both of the tablets, when you just kind of zip around on the Nexus, the first generation was a tad bit slow, but they really picked up the slack. It's extremely snappy, extremely quick. There's almost no lag. And applications don't freeze as much as they did on the first generation. And then again here over on the iPad, we do have the signature Apple reliability and speed. So really with both tablets, you can't complain with the speed. Either one is going to be great for any of your daily needs as well as your harder processes. Battery life is another story though. iPad's lower resolution display allows it to last a lot longer with battery life. So you're sacrificing one thing on the iPad and getting longer battery life, and then you're sacrificing battery life on the Nexus, but you do have this beautiful 323 pixels per inch display. Also, it seems like in the newer softwares from Android, they've really found out how to conserve battery life while the Nexus is on standby. So if you leave these two tablets sitting overnight on standby, the iPad's going to drink a little bit more power down than the Nexus, which is a nice feature.
If we talk about the cameras on these two devices, we have a pretty similar setup. They both have front-facing 1.2 megapixel front-facing cameras and rear-facing 5 megapixel sensors. My opinions on tablets with cameras, not very good. Yeah, I just don't really see much of a use for them other than utilitarian things like QR code scanning and maybe just snapping a picture for Instagram here and there if you don't have your phone around. But other than that, I don't really see them getting much use. So overall, guys, it's going to come down to preference and what you prefer in an operating system on your tablet. Obviously with iOS you're going to get a better app selection. That still is the case, although Android's getting a lot closer. You're going to have a better linked in ecosystem of devices with the MacBooks and iMacs and all the Mac computers as well as the iPhone. There's still no Android computer technically, although there is Google Chromebooks and things of that nature. But it's going to come down to preference. If you already have some Apple devices, I would definitely recommend the iPad mini, but both are extremely solid devices and are going to get you a very good tablet experience. So that's about it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching.